Hi, I'm Life Coach Landry, and the topic is what should you say in your first online dating message? You want to make a good first impression. So you've identified the dating site you want to use, and you've constructed your profile complete with your best looking photos, and make sure they're photos from within the year. And the next stage is either to sit and wait to be contacted by a potential date, or you could actually go look for a date yourself and be proactive. Waiting is not a good tactic. Okay. If you like somebody, you should be, if you're paying for a product, you should be using it. Surely one of the things all of us want to know is what type of first contact message is most likely to succeed in achieving a response from somebody you would actually like to entertain and know. Should it be humorous? Should it be factual? Or should it just be an introduction? How exactly should you say things about yourself in a message? Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways that you can approach things, and I'm going to give you some factors and etiquette and things like that most people should be aware of, okay? The common sense approach. Here are 3 common sense ways, okay? Firstly, when you send your first contact message, pay some attention to what the recipient has said in their profile description. You want to illustrate that you've actually taken interest in them and you've read their profile. Don't just send a generic catch, all messages. Sites like Match allow users to respond by giving winks, although this type of communication may be perceived as low effort or generic. So winks actually are not very persistent. Secondly, don't just make a statement in your message. Ask a question. Asking a question allows somebody to respond, which is more difficult with the statement. And use the recipient's name if it's actually in their profile, or their profile headline, or their profile name, or their username, because it just comes off as a lot more friendlier. We know that it's easy to establish a degree of rapport by saying you have similar interests, but there's really no point in saying that you share an interest in collecting strange and interesting bookmarks if it's not really in your interest of yours. So finally, be honest, okay? I'm going to tell you what the research says. Research says that the results suggest that the likelihood of a first message receiving a response depends on several factors: a lower use of the personal pronoun I, a lower use of leisure words such as movie, more frequent use of the word you, and more frequent use of the word such as relationship or helpful. Surprising, however, they did not find that the use of negative words, dislike, can't, or disinterested, to be adverse effect in responding. So the next thing I would tell you is, should you play it cool? Okay, another good question a lot of people have asked me. And if you're the recipient of a first contact message on a dating site, it's better to play it cool and not show too much interest in the initial, and make the message sender wait a while for your reply. Contrary to what we might think, it has been found that eager messages are not perceived as a turnoff, but rather the faster the reply to the message, the more likely it is that the communication will continue. Okay, so I'm going to give you, these are some myths that people think about. They think, if you reply too fast, they'll think you're too eager. If you're interested in somebody, stop playing a game. Dating is not chess. It was never meant to be. And when you play with that, you're going to only hurt yourself in the end, because if the other person's being 100% genuine, they're responding when they want to do it, they're doing what they want to do. Remember, this is not a person that you've had a previous relationship with, okay? So you don't know their behavior. So you need to go with your own instincts, okay? The next one would be, who makes first contact? Are there any gender differences in who is more likely to make first contact? In their studies that we've read, males viewed over 3 times more dating profiles than females. Males were more likely to make contact with a female after viewing her profile compared to females making contact with a male after viewing their profile. And this probably has obvious backbone to it, being that males are more receptive to sexuality of the eyes. Okay, males were more likely to make contact with females after viewing their profile. So that falls into the standard. On average, males sent over 3 times more first contact messages than females. But remember, this goes back to something I said in one of my other segments about the truths of online dating, and that's that although that you will get more males coming at you, you will have less quality to pick from. Whereas men will get less emails from women, but the emails they do get are likely of more quality. So in terms of responding to a first message, studies found that males replied more first contact messages than females, but not by much, okay? It's 26% to 21%. So it's not like there's these giant gaps of talking back and forth. But the gender differences may be accounted for in terms of error management theory. This theory in psychology suggests that because of the relative risk that reproduction poses to males and females, males tend to overestimate female sexual interest, known as over-perception bias. Okay? Whereas because reproduction poses a greater risk to them, females have evolved to be more cautious and judicious during interactions with males. Other factors influencing first contact are both males and females tended to make contact with their potential dates that were similar to themselves in terms of religion, race, political persuasion, educational level, relationship status, and whether they have children or not. Both males and females were more likely to contact potential dates who stated that they had higher incomes and those who had rated as physically attractive by independent judges. Furthermore, despite the fact that those using online dating reported that they do not necessarily pursue the most attractive partner, studies noted that online daters do actually pursue people who they find most desirable, rather than those who match them in terms of attractiveness. In other words, those using online dating attempts to maximize and achieve their best and most attractive date they can get, rather than looking for someone similar to themselves in terms of attractiveness. Now, I did a segment called Dating Out of Your League. Listen to that. That's more detailed information on that type of study. Okay. The next would be etiquette and a failure to receive a response. Okay. So in face-to-face communication, if we ask someone a question and we are ignored, most of us would consider such behavior to be rather rude. However, in the online dating world, it is not uncommon for messages to go unanswered and ignored. And furthermore, these behaviors are seen as not normally considered to be offensive. The possible reason for this is the degree of online users in their experience in an environment where they feel relatively anonymous. Okay, so furthermore, even being impersonal responses such as simply saying no thank you with no explanation are considered acceptable. Okay, some people using online dating may simply not look at their messages that often, or in an alternate, they may have found someone and left the dating site altogether, even though their profile is still present. Each of these things may account for the failure to reply. Therefore, given the above normal etiquette of online interaction, if you don't receive a response to your first contact message, then keep trying and don't get discouraged or anything like that. Online dating, like I said, it takes a lot of people to go through before you're going to find somebody of substance. There are a lot of people out there. That doesn't mean there are a lot of people that are compatible. Okay, you can live in a city with 4 million people. If you cut that in half, let's say 2 million are male and the other 2 million are female, and then you knock it down by religion, and then you knock it down by age, that pool is a lot smaller than you probably thought it was in the end of the day. And remember, sometimes those people, it takes time for you to run into them. So, this should be some information to kind of give you a kick in the right direction about how you should handle, anything like that you're unfamiliar with. So I hope this gives you some direction. And if you'd like to book a personal session with me to talk about ways to initiate talking to people online and working towards getting a person who's more compatible with you to have interest in you online, you can contact me at the email below. And if you found this information of value, you can show that appreciation by clicking on the donation link below, and I will talk to you soon.